6:15, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dulmin Samarsingha and read by Niranjan Abesundara. The Army Commander says there is no preparation to lock down the country. Coronavirus treatment facilities at hospitals increased. The Army emphasizes it has facilities to treat increased number of people sent for quarantine. The salary of armed forces personnel and police officers who died during the terrorist war is to be paid to their widows for a lifetime. Defense Secretary assures justice for the Itasandi victims. In world news, in India, COVID cases cross 18 million. Sports news, Dimuth Karunaratne and Lahiri Thirimana score centuries on the first day of the second test against Bangladesh. The head of the National Operations Centre to prevent the spread of COVID-19, Army Commander General Samuel Silva, said there is no preparation to lock down the country. However, he said that certain places with the risk of the coronavirus spread would be isolated. The Army Commander, during a media briefing in Colombo today, said prior information cannot be given on such places. Army quarantine centres have also been turned into intermediate treatment centres. He further said that, if necessary, tourist hotels will be converted into treatment centres as well. Although the numbers sent for quarantine increased daily, the Army had necessary facilities. Steps have been taken to increase the capacity of hospitals. Therefore, he requested the people not to entertain unnecessary fears that there will be insufficient facilities to treat corona patients. He further requested the public not to get misled by false propaganda. The government has decided to grant the salary of the armed forces personnel and police officers who died during the terrorist war to the widows for a lifetime. The cabinet has given necessary approval. Defense Secretary General Kamal Guratha said the widows will get a total of salary and allowances when he completes 55 years. Apart from that, parents of married and unmarried armed forces members and police officers who have died will get a monthly allowance of 25,000 rupees for life from the day he completes 55 years. Defense Secretary said that dependents of armed forces personnel and police officers who left the service due to disability following terrorist activities will get the salaries and allowances for their lifetime. Defense Secretary General Kamal Gunaratne was speaking during a media briefing in Colombo today. The armed forces personnel who have become disabled due to post-terrorist activities and the next of kin of those who died will also get the relief. More than 30,000 will benefit from the decision of the government. 7,000 of them are widows or the service personnel. Meanwhile, Defense Secretary Gunaratne assured to mete out justice to the victims of the Sunday attack. He said it would take some time since investigations are extensive and is a complex process. Security authorities have decided to provide 22,500 beds to face any situation that could arise due to the spread of the coronavirus. Defense Secretary pointed out the virus could be controlled if people follow health guidelines while limiting travel. The CID says another group of suspects connected to the Easter Sunday attack will be arrested, according to information obtained from the former Minister Rashad Badruddin and his brother, who are being questioned under detention. They are being questioned on several people, including the two businessmen who died by exploding bombs at Lemadagoda Mahavila Garden. They are to be questioned on information given by the suspects arrested by the Terrorist Investigation Division. The World Bank yesterday approved $80.5 million additional financing to help Sri Lanka access and distribute fairly COVID-19 vaccines and to strengthen the country's vaccination system and pandemic response. Additional finance builds on the $217.56 million Sri Lanka COVID-19 emergency response and the pandemic preparedness project, which was approved in April 2020. This new financing will help purchase vaccines to cover approximately 4 million people. In addition, it will cover the costs of deploying safe and effective vaccines to 20% of Sri Lanka's population to meet the target of vaccinating at least 60% of the population. This additional financing will help implement the National Vaccine Deployment Plan of the Ministry of Health. Corona treatment centre with 2,000 beds will be set up at the Gampaha Varalamatta area using the closed-down garment factory. Another 2 garment factories closed down at Katnaka and Mirigama areas, also to be scheduled to be used as treatment centres. Decision has been taken following a discussion held yesterday at the Gampaha Divisional Secretariat, headed by the Minister Prasanna Ranthunga. 234 corona patients have been found yesterday from the Gampaha district. More than 20,000 infected persons have been found so far from the Gampaha district. Health authorities said that 248,287 in the Kampala district have been vaccinated. Health workers of the district will be vaccinated with the second dose within the next few days. Director of the Northern Provincial Health Services, Dr. A. Ketiswaran, said another 13 people were diagnosed with COVID-19 virus yesterday. 12 have been identified in Jaffna and another in Vaunia. 660 PCR tests were carried out yesterday at the Jaffna Teaching Hospital and Jaffna University Medical Faculty Laboratories. Dr. Ketiswaran said they were following those PCR tests. Sri Lanka police have set up special roadblocks at 12 exit and entry points to the Western Province starting from noon today. Police spokesperson Deodar Rohan has said this program is initiated together with the Ministry of Health and the Armed Forces. He said random rapid antigen tests are being carried out on the members of the public at the exit and entry points of the Western Province in order to identify the coronavirus positive cases and to prevent the spread of the virus to other areas. District Secretary of Trincomalee Saman Darshana Pandikurla has stated steps have been taken to provide dry rations to the people in the isolated area to Trincomalee district. 6 Gramadildar divisions have been isolated in the Trincomalee district. More than 60 people without masks were arrested yesterday. Trincomalee District Secretary has requested the public to cooperate in controlling the spread of the COVID-19. He stated this at a press conference held at the Trincomalee District Secretariat today. Director General of the Mahabharata Authority, Kirti B. Kotagala, said that strict legal action will be taken against the people who illegally acquire government lands under the purview of the authority. He has informed all residential ownership managers to take immediate action to prevent taking over lands illegally. He has also informed them to provide him with reports every 2 weeks on action that have been taken in connection with the illegal acquiring of lands in the Mahabharata zone. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Postmaster General Ranit Adararatne said that sub-post offices will be kept open for a limited time due to the situation in the country. Accordingly, sub-post offices will be kept open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. They'll be opened on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Director General of the Wildlife Chandana Surya Bandara said that plans have been made to erect electric fence for 1,000 kilometers this year as a solution to the human-elephant conflict. 3,000 million rupees have been allocated for the purpose. Mr. Surya Bandara said electric fence has been erected for 4,500 kilometers so far. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The April unit of the Health Ministry reported 362 more coronavirus recoveries in the country today. This brings the total number of COVID-19 recoveries in Sri Lanka so far to 95,445. Sri Lanka's confirmed coronavirus cases count touched 104,953 after 1,466 people were diagnosed with the coronavirus yesterday. This is the highest single-day spike Sri Lanka saw in infections since the outbreak of the pandemic. Meanwhile, 8,847 active cases are currently under medical care at treatment centers and hospitals across the country. In addition, 661 people in the island have succumbed to the virus infection. The highest number of PCR tests per day in Sri Lanka was carried out yesterday, which is 23,730. Health officials said that 2.7 million PCR tests have been carried out in the country so far. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On to Watchlight. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka declared a special half-day bank holiday tomorrow in lieu of May Day, which falls on Saturday. Meanwhile, Colombo Stock Exchange said the market will be closed at 12:30 p.m. tomorrow in view of the additional half-day holiday on account of the May Day falling on Saturday. That came to in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
The best discount in this Aurudu season, People's Leasing Polivasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Aurudu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
India's COVID cases cross 18 million. Thousands march in Colombia over tax proposals. China launches key module of space station planned for 2022. As India grapples with the world's worst coronavirus crisis, fires in the crematoriums continue to burn round the clock, with the capital New Delhi reporting one death every 4 minutes. Today marked another grim record high with 309,257 new infections and 3,655 deaths in the previous 24 hours. Meanwhile, a mass vaccination drive due to begin on the weekend is also facing a setback as Indians are struggling to register online. Tens of thousands of protesters answered the call of Colombia's biggest union to take to the streets over the government's proposed tax proposals despite a court order to postpone the strike over concerns of an overstretched health system amid a third wave of coronavirus. Teachers, university students, trade unions, Afro-Colombian and indigenous groups and many others took part in the protest today against tax changes put forward by the right-wing President Ivan Duque government. China has launched an unmanned module containing living quarters for 3 crew on a permanent space station that it plans to complete by the end of 2022. State media reported that the module named Harmony of the Heavens was launched on the Long March 5B, China's largest carrier rocket, today from the Wenchang Space Launch Center on the southern island of Hainan. And back to the headlines of the world news. India's COVID-19 cases cross 18 million. Thousands march in Colombia over tax proposals. China launches key module of space station planned for 2022. That was world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of
The best discount in this Urdu season, People's Leasing Polybasi. Enjoy an interest rebate of 25% from People's Leasing for all the leasing facilities during this Urdu season. Call 011-206-300 for more details. Conditions apply.
People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development news. The Ministry of Tourism will invest over 519 million rupees for tourism development projects this year. The need for engaging in work that ensures the tourist attraction is protected when developing infrastructure facilities in tourist areas was emphasized. Minister of Tourism Prasanna Ranatunga has advised officials to pay special attention regarding this when the annual development plan of the Ministry of Tourism is being implemented. On to sports news. Cricket. Today, the first day of the second test between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh's Palakali International Stadium in Kandy. Batting first, Sri Lanka were 291 for 1 at close of play today. Hemant Karunaratne scored 131. Larithurimana was unbeaten on 131. Oshada Fernando was not out on 48 stumps today. Olympic news. Competitors will have daily COVID-19 tests at the Summers Olympics and Paralympics in Tokyo. They'll also need to wear face masks except when they are eating, drinking, sleeping, training or competing. And those traveling from outside Japan will be given a phone with apps for health reporting and contact tracing. There'll be no international fans, but a decision on whether local fans can attend the games will be made in June. There's no requirement for athletes to be vaccinated, but they will need to undergo a 3-day quarantine on arrival. Football news. Spotify founder Daniel Ek says his proposed Arsenal takeover is very serious, that he has secured funds for a deal. Amid last week's fallout from the European Super League collapse, Ek said he was interested in buying the club. Arsenal legend Thierry Henry, Dennis Beckham and Patrick Vieira have joined his bid, but owners Stan and Josh Kroenke said they do not want to sell it. On to business news.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The Commercial Bank of Ceylon has become the first Sri Lankan bank to achieve carbon neutrality for the entirety of its operations, encompassing all 26 branches and its head office. Becoming a net zero carbon company was one of the Commercial Bank's green goals to be achieved by the close of its centenary year in 2020. Commenting on the achievement, Commercial Bank Managing Director S. Ranganathan said, the bank believes sustainable success is a balancing act between continuity and change, stability and disruption, being conservative and bold. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Sri Lanka surpassed $1 billion of exports in March 2021 after a lapse of 6 months. As per the Customs statistics, earnings from merchandise exports recorded double-digit growth of 62.47% in March 2021. Earnings from merchandise exports increased by 11.51% in first quarter 2021 to $2,094.53 million compared to the first quarter 2020. This growth could be attributed to gradual lifting of the COVID-19 restrictions imposed within the country and globally. That is economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on to the weather report. Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the central, Sabaragamu, southern, Uva, north central and eastern provinces and in the Vavuniya and Mullaitivu district during the evening or night. Showers will occur in the western southern coastal areas. Fairly heavy rainfall of 50 millimeters can be expected some places in the Uva, central and southern provinces and in the Batticaloa and Ampara districts. And back to the headlines of the news. The Army Commander says there's no preparation to lock down the country. Coronavirus treatment facilities at hospitals increased. The Army emphasized it has facility to treat increased number of people sent for quarantine. The salary of armed forces personnel and police officers who died during the terrorist war should be paid to their widows for a lifetime. Defense Secretary assures justice for the Itasandi victims. In world news, in India, COVID cases cross 18 million. Sports news, Dimuth Karunaratne and Lahiri Thirimana score centuries on the first day of second test against Bangladesh. That and the evening news, and back to your friend in mine, Sound is helping to keep entertained this Thursday, right after close of transmission at 10. The microphone is all yours, Sound.